Street to help small business owners have the same capital as corporate America and give them the same resources as a larger company. We cover business funding, business credit, scaling, business consulting, and much more. Check out the website at shieldadvisorygroup.com. Welcome to the show, The Liquid Lunch Project.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Liquid Lunch Project. As always, I'm Matt Meehan alongside my partner in crime, the professor, Mr. Luigi Rosabianca. And guys, we have a really special treat for you right now. A good friend of mine, Mr. Drewbie Wilson. Drewbie has an amazing story. I can't even begin to do it justice, but Drewbie is an author of Crushing the Day, which is an amazing book, which I think everybody listening right now should go out there and buy. He's also a podcast host, and he hosts the Crushing the Day podcast. All alongside, he also is the VP of Sales for Break Free Academy. Welcome, Drewbie. Thanks for being here, man.
Hey, Matt. Thank you for the kind intro. It is an honor to be here with you fellas. I'm excited to dive in, man. I just appreciate you having me on.
Hey, brother,
Drewbie, I got to tell you, I don't really get excited for our guests. I think I lost sleep last night. I woke up early. I put on a fresh pressed shirt. I knew Drewbie was coming.
Hey, now you're going to make my head fall over. It's going to get too big.
Hey, Drewbie, before Matt delves into it, we're curious. What's your legal name? What's it say on your driver's license?
It says Andrew Wilson. It is a very standard American name, and I'm happy with it. But you know what? Being that it is very popular, I think all of us should have a reason to stand out. And something I've seen over the years is people with unique names tend to have a unique personality and style about them. Growing up, my friends always called me Drewbie, and I was like a semi-professional gamer at one point when I was in my early teens. And so Drewbie was like my online handle. As I grew into the professional world, it kind of just stuck. And I said, well, hey, you know what? Like, it's different. Let's run with it.
I love that, man. Yo, Drewbie, you got a story that is pretty epic, man. And I would love to tell the audience about it, but I can't do it justice. So why don't you start from the beginning and let everybody know where you're at now, and then we'll talk about a little bit where Drewbie's going in the future.
Man, so I could take all day and tell you guys my whole story. We'll surmise it with first go and get my book, Crushing the Day. It's on Amazon. It's real easy to read. I think most people say they get it done in about 2 hours. That'll tell you most of my real story. But the short one, right? So again, my name is Drewbie Wilson. I'm the vice president of Break Free Academy. And really my whole thing in life is about serving others and providing value. So I've had a number of different interesting jobs over the years. When I graduated from high school, I barely graduated, and I kind of was just like, man, get me the hell out of here and let me do my thing. Because I had kind of not the worst upbringing, but my mom, was a single mom, raised me and my two brothers. And so we had some struggles there. And then when she got remarried, there was some issues with the stepdad and high school. And you know how those teenage years can be really hard for kids growing up. I was definitely part of that statistics of drugs and addiction and all those different things. And I also struggled with my weight. I was always a heavier guy. And then when I graduated high school, I got a job as a nuclear pharmacy technician. It was a third shift gig. So I was drinking energy drinks and eating like a garbage can all night long and really ballooned up to about 315 pounds at one point. I had that fat moment. And then I went through some different phases, right? Like I said, was a nuclear pharmacy tech until I realized, hey, I can't do this third shift thing. So I went to college for about 3 weeks. I was going to go in for photography and realized real quickly what a joke that was and dropped out just at time to where I didn't get any of the money back from the loans that I had taken out. So, $10,000, $15,000 in student loans for absolutely nothing that I then had to pay back over the years. And that's kind of, I think, where my entrepreneurial journey began, because I was a bouncer, and then I was also, a bouncer at night, and during the day I was selling cigars for the guy who owned the clubs and the bars that I worked at. And so that's where I really started down and learning sales and business. And, I ended up going from the retail guy to being the manager of the store. We went from doing a couple $100,000 to up over $500,000 a year while I was managing it. Became best shop in Toledo. So I was really getting this chance to network and learn from business owners and entrepreneurs, because who hangs out at a cigar shop all day long? Business owners, right? Small business owners and sales guys and people who have the opportunity to sit and do that kind of stuff during the day instead of sitting in an office or at a cubicle, right? So I worked at the cigar shop for a while, ended up getting let go 2 weeks before Christmas, moved into selling furniture, had some success in the furniture business. Of course, didn't know anything about it, but thought, hey, if I just come in with the idea of helping these people get what they're looking for, hey, I know you're here because you need to get new furniture for your house. What are you looking for and what is your budget, right? Because at the end of the day, that's really what most people have to decide. What are we going to be comfortable with and how much can we spend? So my whole thing was, I don't know anything about any of this stuff, but I'm going to help you get what you want so that you feel comfortable with your purchase. And I did very, very well. I did like $150,000 in furniture sales in 6 weeks, which was just short of the guy who brought me in, who had been there for 10 years as the manager of the business. So like, this is when I really started to recognize sales and my ability to help others and sell more through service, which led me to an opportunity with a family member in the insurance industry, which then a top producer at this insurance agency for 5 years was like, hey, I don't want to sit around and wait. So what do I do next? I start learning lead generation and marketing and kind of some other back end parts of the business growth, which led me to an opportunity with phone sites and Ryan Stewman. I was doing some, online tutorials and helping some other people in this online community. At the time, Ryan saw what I was up to, reached out and said, hey, man, I want you to come and work for the company and I want to mentor you because I think you have something special. I don't know, man. Like, I kind of resisted, right? I got this opportunity. I'm comfortable. I'm making 40 grand a year and I can just kind of sit here for the next few years and do that. Or Ryan's like, no, bro, fly down here, spend a day with me. I promise you we can help change a lot of lives. So fast forward 2.5 years later, I now live in Dallas, Texas, instead of Toledo, Ohio. I've done more than $5.5 million in sales in the coaching and consulting space, built digital products. I wrote a best-selling book. I've lost hundreds of pounds. I've not done any of the crazy fad diets or drugs or, surgeries or anything. I've just literally put in hard work day in and day out in the last 10, 12 years since I got together with my beautiful wife and had our 5-year-old son. I went on this journey of personal development, probably in the last 6 years especially, and said, hey, I need to get my life together. I'm married. I got a kid. And if I'm going to leave the legacy that they deserve, I got shit to do and I got work to put in. And that's my short story. Like I said, go get the book. You'll get a little more of it, but that's kind of the condensed version for your listeners.
That's amazing, brother. That is amazing, but I think you're selling yourself a little bit short there because what the listeners don't know is Drewbie is, if not the best, one of the best at selling coaching products of all time. You've hit some really big milestones recently, haven't you?
I don't know that I'm like that great. Like, and maybe that's just me being humble, but I always have this, and I think a lot of small business owners will relate to this imposter syndrome, right? Because like I see what I've done, but I'm still looking and seeing what's possible based on the people that I'm around, right? As I've leveled up, I've seen these bigger circles and I start seeing this stuff and I'm like, man, what I've done is cool, but like, is it bad?
Yeah, I think you're good, man. Listen, you're one of the best that I've ever seen, right? So
I appreciate you. Thank you. Sorry, it's hard for me to take compliments like that.
So Drewbie's got a saying, and it's called them damn leads, right? So Drewbie, I'm going to say it because you won't say it. I think you're one of the best in the business, right? But
thank you. What
has made you so successful? What are your sales secrets, so to speak? Why don't you break down your process a little bit for us?
Yeah, man. I think with sales, a lot of guys overcomplicate it, right? Like, oh, I got to read this script, or I've got to use the Belfort straight line sales system, and I got to do this and that. And there's all these online gurus that want to tell you their scripts or their style is the best. And at the end of the day, I truly believe that sales comes down to two things. And Ryan really helped me kind of narrow in on this, but it's confidence and empathy. Hey, I'm going to have a conversation with somebody and I want to know what their problems are. Can I listen to what they're saying? And then am I confident that my product or service that I'm representing in this transaction can help them solve their problem without too much pain? Because at the end of the day, there's always pain and there's pleasure. There's two things that people want, pain and pleasure. Are they running towards pleasure or are they running away from pain? My job is to step in and say, okay, what is your goal? Do you want to get out of the pain that you're in, or do you want to get to the pleasure you desire? And then be confident in my ability to deliver that service. That is all you need to be having sales. People overcomplicate it. Can you ask questions? Can you listen? And can you confidently deliver the solution to their problem? 1, 2, 3, right? So for me, my big success in sales, when I got into the insurance agency, they sat me down with a giant printed out list of Excel names, phone numbers, and addresses and said, hey, start calling these people and ask them if they want a quote for insurance. And I'm looking, I got a phone, no like headset or nothing. It's literally like old school pick up and dial phone, a Polycom i35. If anybody's familiar with the VoIP systems that exist, right? And so I walked down to the dollar store. I got 3 highlighters, red, yellow, green, and a ruler. And as I started calling, I just went through and I said, hey, this person told me to fuck off. This person said I can call them back in 6 months. This person didn't answer, right? And so I just started going through the list and calling the leads. And then when I talked to somebody and they said, hey, I don't renew for 6 months or 3 months, call me back then. I put a note down and I said, hey, call them back at that time, because I know insurance is a time-based thing typically, right? If you're going to buy new insurance, it's because your rates have gone up or something happened and you're not satisfied with your carrier. So for me, I knew if I at least checked in every 6 months with people, there was a chance they may give me another shot to look at it. So I would just call the leads. And then over time, I developed a system that helped me automate and become more efficient, so that as I was calling them, I had a very specific system. If I paid $25 to an online vendor for someone's name, phone, email, address, and then maybe what kind of car they drove, I was going to call and reach out to that person in every way possible. So I knew that in the first 30 days, they were going to get 18 different points of contact, right? Days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they got specific phone calls or text messages or emails. Days 8, 10, 15, 21, and 28, they got a separate set of messages. Maybe it was a letter sent directly to their house. Or, if I could find them on social media, maybe a message to them on social media. I was relentless. And then if they didn't answer in that first 30 days, I was going to check back with them 90 days later and try and hit them up again. Because I knew that if their information got sold to 5 or 6 different insurance agents, like they usually do when you buy from an online lead vendor, same with like the contractor industry, right? You buy from Home Advisor, it goes to 4 other contractors at the same time. So like if they're getting bombarded with calls, I'll wait and I'll check back, because if 90 days later they still haven't gone and gotten the solution for that pain, maybe it's at a point where it's bad enough for them to take action. So for me, that's my whole secret to sales and success. Do I have confidence and empathy? Can I listen to people and hear what their problem is? Am I confident that the product or service I'm representing can deliver the solution? And then am I willing to follow up with them until one of the 2 things happens? They've already gotten the service they need and I can mark them off as no longer interested, or the pain gets bad enough that they want the thing that they want, or they're tired of trying to figure it out themselves. That's literally all it is. Because eventually it's going to be one of those 2 things. Or the people who aren't interested, I can say, all right, no problem. I totally understand and appreciate that. Is there anyone else with the same problem that I might be able to reach out to? Ask for a referral. Who cares? Okay, you don't want my service? Great. Do you know anybody else who does maybe? Were you not totally satisfied with the results you got and you don't want someone else to have that same problem? Because I'd be happy to offer and try.
Matthew, this guy will not get off the humble train. He says it's as simple as confidence and empathy, but it takes a lifetime of experience to develop confidence and empathy. I think a guy like you is able to be so good at sales is because you had your own troubles. And in fighting through those troubles, you built up the confidence because you succeeded. Whether it was weight, whether it was early childhood issues, whether it was drugs or abuse, whatever it was, you attacked the problem head on, you succeeded, and that gave you the confidence. The problem, like Matt and I have, when we're hiring someone, we always try to stay away from that silver spoon privileged prick, because he can never develop empathy. And he'll never have confidence because he never had want. He always had the full belly concept. So another thing, Matt and I always kind of compare and contrast, because we come from very different sides of the academic circle, right? We love trade schools. We think young kids should go to trade schools. I think there's a wonderful thing about learning a craft, learning a trade, being an artisan, right? When we're hiring kids and we see Harvard or Yale, we say, oh, they're underqualified, because you can't teach these kids life experiences like you have. So let me ask you, what are your experiences, not only in what you see from your childhood, but also in like your colleagues and peers when it comes to sales and it comes to promoting like a successful life. What's your take on going to college and going $250,000 in debt versus kind of rolling up your sleeves and kind of learning by doing?
So I think you have to, and this is the person making this decision, right? I think the person that's in that situation has to decide, what life do I want to live? And this is a hard question to ask an 18-year-old when they're getting ready to decide, hey, am I going to go to college? Hey, am I going to go do this, right? I, growing up, didn't have the best examples. But, my dad had his issues. My mom had her issues. Obviously, the rest of the family, that led to their issues. And we can all come up with these different excuses or reasons for everything. But at the end of the day, as a human, as a person, I think in that teenage years, you develop a mindset where you have to make decisions, right? You understand that, hey, if you grew up in a shitty life and you don't want to continue in that life, you're going to have to make a decision to go and work hard. As far as college, I see it like this. If you want to go to college, okay, cool. But whatever you're going for, make sure that when you come out on the end, right, what skill set have you developed while you're there, and what is the value of that skill set, and how long is it going to be needed in society? Do you want to be a doctor? Okay, understand that you're going to go several $100,000s into debt. You're going to spend 10 to 12 years getting yourself set up so that you can, again, start at the end of that, you're still going to have to start at zero and build a business. So if that is your goal, you truly want to serve and help people as a doctor, I love and appreciate that, and I respect it. But I also want you to understand that while you're doing the skill set of the doctor stuff, you're still going to have to come out and learn how to build a business on the other end. So maybe you should think while you're doing your doctorate, your undergrad is something in business related, right? So that you understand that. I love the idea of trade schools. Not like, here, let me rephrase this. I think sometimes people get hung up on the idea of what success truly means. Okay? I think success is a perspective, and that's where people get it messed up, because what I deem success is not what Matt deems success. It's not what Luigi deems success. It's not what the person listening to this podcast right very now deems to be success. Success is a perspective. If happy to you is, hey, I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I make enough that our bills are paid. We have a decent house in a decent area. I get the chance to go to my kids' basketball practice and games every week. And we sometimes go on vacation, and you're happy. I am never going to judge that, because that is success to you. Success to me isn't that. Maybe I want a little more out of life. Maybe I want to be able to travel around the world. Maybe I want the convenience of, having the money to afford certain luxuries. That's okay. There should be no judgment in what your perspective of success is, but you have to decide what that looks like, right? So what is your perspective of success? If you can go to a trade school and become a welder because you love building motorcycles in your free time, and you know that a welding degree at the end of that is going to cost you, let's say, $50,000, but that you can make $150,000 a year as a welder in these specific things, and it's always going to be necessary because of construction and these different trades that are always going to be around and necessary, then cool, go and do that. Live your life, build motorcycles, and be a welder. I'm not here to judge your decision, but I think that's the problem, is people are afraid to make a decision and then go and do the work. If you choose to go to college and you're going to take on that debt, great. If you choose to be an entrepreneur and build your own business selling lemonade, okay, fine, but you're going to have to do the work. It doesn't matter what path you do. You have to be willing to do the work, and I think that's the issue. It doesn't matter which one you choose, college, no college, trade school, entrepreneurship. I don't care. Are you willing to go and do the work necessary to live the life that you want in the perspective that you see success as?
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. However, I do believe that experience trumps education 9 out of 10 times, right?
Yes.
So for somebody like me who never went to college, right, I learned by rolling up my sleeves and getting my hands dirty, right, and failing over and over and over. But me being a lifelong learner, right, I always put my head down and learned on my own terms, right? So maybe I didn't have that formal education, but I was more self-taught. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate you guys over at Break Free Academy for doing, is because you're giving people an opportunity to learn different skills, whether it's generating leads, how to run a business or sales, or just level up every area of their life for people that may have not had that proper structure in their family life or in their education. So for the listeners, Drewbie, why don't you break down a little bit more about Break Free Academy for everybody as well?
Yeah, man. So, Break Free Academy is the umbrella company, and it hosts our Apex coaching and mastermind program. Like, Apex is really our flagship, right? BFA, Break Free Academy, that's kind of the background stuff. But really what we do, in a nutshell, people always ask, like, what do you do, Drewbie? Well, I do personal performance coaching and business consulting. Because, again, in referring back to the idea of success as a perspective, everybody sees it different. So, hey, we operate by the G code. That's 4 G's. Your gratitude, which is the way you live with your mindset. Your genetics, which is your health and your fitness. Your grind, which is your work, right? The thing that you do to put food on the table and a roof over your head. And your group. That's the people that you surround yourself with. That's 4 G's. If you make sure that you're attacking each of those areas every day, you can get yourself 1 point for each G. So essentially, we've gamified personal development so that as you live and you go through and you focus on these 4 simple areas in life, if you're doing those things, we can guarantee you with 100% surety that you will grow and become a better person. Because if you focus on having gratitude and living with a better mindset, you're going to make better choices. If you focus on your health and your fitness, you're going to have the energy to go and do the work that you need to do to be successful. You're going to have the focus to get the shit done. And then you're going to go and be able to be there with your family, your friends, the people you care about, right? Not everybody's married with kids. Some people have a group of friends that they just love spending time with. You still need to go and be social and get out and spend time with others and focus on someone that's not you, right? If you think about it like this, if you take 15 minutes out of every day to like meet somebody new or to focus on a friend and do something for them with 0 expectations in return, how much good do you think you could do over a year, right? Like, think about it like that. If you just took 15 minutes to call that person you hadn't talked about or talked to in a couple of months and just remind them, hey, I just want you to know I'm really grateful for your friendship, right? Like, I really appreciate you. And even though we don't talk a whole lot, just know I see your stuff. And even though I don't engage, I appreciate you and you inspire me. Like, think about the ripple effect of that. And that's why we kind of simplified it, right? If we just focus on these 4 things every day, we'll be more successful. And with that, we know there's levels to growing and success, especially in the business world. So we got to build, hey, first you got to learn sales, marketing, and networking. You got to learn how to sell stuff. You got to learn how to find people to sell it to. And then you got to learn how to build a group of people that you can help grow and learn from, right? That's step 1. Then you got to learn how to hire people and start delegating things because there's only 24 hours in a day. And if you want to grow a business, there's certain tasks that you're going to have to start delegating to others so you can focus on the business instead of working in the business. Then you've got a team of 10 people. You've got all this other stuff going on, right? The conversations at each of those levels change based on where you're at as you grow. And so our goal is to find somebody who's in that position where they're living and feel very average and not totally satisfied with where they are. Show them the idea of, hey, here's how you rewire your mindset. Here's how you live in abundance. Here's how you focus on these 4 simple things every day. You have this structure, this routine. And if you just do this while following the blueprint that we've used thousands of times to help others grow and become more successful in these 4 different areas, whichever one is more important to you, that's fine. Again, you don't have to make millions of dollars for us to think you're a cool person. If you have a cool family life and you're happy and you're making $100K a year, oh, fuck yeah, that's amazing. That's exactly it, right? That is it. That is success. But if you want to make millions, you want to grow to that next level, you want to build a team, you want to help hundreds of people, feed millions of people every year, there's steps to it. There's a process. And so what we do is we take all the complicated parts of those processes and simplify them for the folks who are ready to commit to becoming the best version of themselves.
I love that, brother. Drewbie, what would you say one of the biggest myths about the coaching industry is that you want to debunk?
Ooh, biggest myths about the coaching industry. I think the biggest myth that needs to be debunked is that it is wrong to pay for friendship. And I think people get it real twisted because they're like, oh, you're paying to be a part of this group of people. And like, is it like a cult or is it like this weird thing? It's like, I'm paying for proximity, right? Like you joined a country club because you wanted to go around and be other people that can afford to be a member of this country club, right? Because you're like-minded, you share similar interests, maybe slightly different. There might be some conversation about things, but like, you paid to be a part of this club, right? Or you paid to be a part of this organization because of the benefits that it provided you, right? You're paying for proximity. So when it comes to coaching and mentorship and masterminds, I think people get weirded out by it, like small business owners and entrepreneurs, that they kind of are like, I'm interested, but they're afraid to take that step because the rest of their circle is saying, oh, you pay for friends, like you're going to pay to hang out with these rich people, like, oh, you're paying them money to hang out with them. Like that's how they get rich. Well, yeah, some coaches are full of shit and they get money from people to teach other people how to get money from people, and they're nonsense. But they quickly get weeded out because when you find a circle like Apex or some of the other amazing masterminds out there, Arate, Lion's Den, right? There's a few that are like OGs that live with integrity. When you get in those circles, you find a group of people that are unlike any other in the world. And so, yes, you're going to have to pay for proximity to get around those individuals. But I can promise you this. If you look at it as an investment in yourself, hey, I'm paying $5,000 a year to get in a room with these people because I know the conversations I'm going to have are going to help me go back and find $5, $10, $100,000 in my business, then who gives a shit what the people in your circle say? Pay the money and go and get around the other high-level individuals because you don't know what you don't know. So why wouldn't you get in a room with the people who do so you can compress that time? Time is the one resource that you can't buy more of and you can't win in a poker tournament. So go compress time.
Drewbie, I was one of those people. It took me a long time. If you would have told me,
that's why I said that. I think that's the biggest thing. We're all the same way.
If you would have told me 4 years ago, I would have been involved in different networking groups, masterminds, or coaching groups, I would have said, you're crazy. Get the fuck out of here. There's no way I'm going to spend money to go hang out with people. Flash forward to where we are now, Apex just being one of them. Me and Luigi made a strategic decision that we wanted to be around a lot of people that were like-minded like us, right? And Luigi being in New York, me being in Florida, the world shutting down, right? You didn't have those networking opportunities that you had. So we wanted to meet other people from across the country that warranted our time, right? And there's levels to networking groups, right? So we wanted to be in a higher caliber networking group. And I'll let Luigi, he has some thoughts on this, add in here too.
Hey, Drewbie, up until a few months ago, I thought Matt was crazy for doing a podcast. And now I'm telling him, Matt, quick, let's go. Drewbie's coming. So it really, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. You just have to keep an open mind to everything, especially in small business. Matt and I, we have this thing. We always want young people on our team because, believe it or not, and maybe the crow's feet and the long teeth give it away, but you get up there and sometimes you get set in your ways. So there's nothing better than having some young, fresh blood just to spice things up. They may be right, they may be wrong, but you always need that abundance of ideas. Drewbie, you got a full plate on your hand. What's in store for Drewbie, Andrew Wilson 2.0 for the rest of this year? What's on the agenda, my friend?
The agenda for this year, I have got another book in the works. I don't want to give too many details on it because I'm going to do a full-blown launch on that probably within the next 90 days is the goal. So I got another book coming. I've got my lead stages software that I'm excited to continue growing and building. It's a CRM system by salespeople for salespeople because there's a lot of complicated shit out there. Again, we're trying to make life easy for our team. And I've got a Call the Damn Leads apparel company coming. So if you're in the sales and service industry like ourselves and you want to inspire and motivate your team and remind them how important it is to pick up the phone and change lives, because that's what you're doing when you're in sales, right? You're changing your life by making money. You're changing your family's life, but you're also changing the person on the other end of that conversation's life because you're solving a problem that they face, whether it's the pain that they're dealing with or the pleasure they're seeking that you can help provide for them. And again, that's why it comes back to having empathy, listening to the client on the other end, and confidence in your ability to deliver that product or service with 100% satisfaction guaranteed. So that's really my main focus, man. I really just want to keep helping people growing. I want to, like I said, get the book out, get this Call the Damn Leads apparel brand launched. And then who knows, man, I hang out with guys like you and Matt once a month. So opportunity is within well abundance. So you'll never know what I'll get into.
Hey, Drewbie, for our audience that doesn't know you that well, they don't realize that you do have a secret superpower. If you don't mind, can you help reveal the superpower? Can you take off the hat and show us the hair?
Oh, I got pretty good hair.
Tell
It's
us,
good.
Is that genetics or is that like a full regimen every day?
It's genetics, brother. I wear a hat every day. My wife is like, I swear to you, if you lose your hair because you wear a hat, I will leave you. I'm just a hat guy personally, but no, my dad has good hair. It's a little gray, but my grandfather has really good hair too. And he's great at this point. So I'm sure at some point I'll go gray, but right now I'm just maintaining the good hair. And when I need it, I pull it out, but it's only on special occasions.
Hey, Drewbie, I really appreciate you being on, man. So 2 things before I let you run. First of all, we touched on this a little bit earlier of what success looks like for other people. And we asked all our podcast guests that are on here, what does success look like for Drewbie Wilson?
Ooh, good one. Funny, I'm going to actually leave this with a tactical for your audience, right? So real recently, Ryan came to me and he's like, hey, man, I want you to go back and redo your perfect day exercise. And so if you're not familiar with that, Frank Kern did a speech. You can find it on YouTube. It's called Core Influence. And within it, he talks about this exercise called the perfect day. And so what Ryan asked me to go back and do was sit down and write down what my perfect work day looked like and then what my perfect day off looked like. Because, as a young entrepreneur, I'm not going to not work right now. I'm driven. I'm excited to keep growing and building. So, what am I going to do when I'm working and what am I going to do when I'm off? And so I did a real deep dive on what that looks like. For me, I think within the next 18 months, that's kind of what it pictures. I want to have a team of people that are doing about $500,000 in sales every month underneath me. And they're going to be totally focused on serving our clients. And then obviously I'll continue growing and helping. I want to do some speaking and consulting. But the goal is getting myself to where I'm making FU money so that I can literally do and go and be whatever I want to be, wherever I want to do. With my wife and my son, but be able to do so by living in a servant's heart, right? I always want to be giving back, and I always want to be focused on helping other people become successful, because I know that the more success I bring to the people around me, the more success I will find within my life. So my dream and mission success right now is building up success in everybody around me, especially within my wife and my son, because at the end of the day, they are my why. And so if I can help them live a happy life and be able to do that by helping others be successful, then that's winning to me, man. The money is a byproduct. It's like I grew up playing video games, so I'm kind of in this weird mindset of at this point, like I'm just playing the game. The money is just the points and going up, but I'm winning. I'm just continuing to level up. And at each level, I'm just getting stronger and better. And so I'm going to get to a point where I'm invincible, not invincible because anybody can get taken down, but I'm building systems and processes so that I can travel and live a life, freedom essentially, and have the ability, if I don't want to do something, to say, F you, I'm out.
I love that, brother. Thank you so much for being here. Drewbie, do me a favor. Tell all the listeners where they can find you, where they can find your book, and a little bit more about your clothing apparel when it gets launched.
Yeah, thank you, man. So if you don't know me, again, you can find me on Facebook, social media, Drewbie Wilson. If you go to connectwithdrewbie.com, so that's DREWBIE. So connectwithdrewbie.com, you can find all my links to my social media. If you search Crushing the Day on Google, Amazon, you can find my podcast. You can find my best-selling book. And really, definitely check out my podcast. I do a short little motivational snippet every day. Again, I've lost over 100 pounds more than once in my life. So I lost it, gained it back, lost it again. I went from making $30K a year to, multiple 6 figures by taking the entrepreneurial journey and going all in on myself and personal development. So I've got kind of a wild story. And like I said, at the end of the day, man, it's always about focusing on serving others. And so if there's someone out there who hears this, it's like, hey, I'm feeling kind of stuck or plateaued, and I know I've got more in there, but I can't figure out how to unlock it. I would love to have a conversation or at least see someone like that pick up my book and see my story of how I overcame some of those struggles so that they can go and do the same in their own life.
Hey, Drewbie, man, thanks for being here. Everybody, thank you for tuning in and listening. Connect with Drewbie, and guys, that's a wrap. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the show. And make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode of The Liquid Lunch Project.